Greetings, Stoic Gamers. Michael Bolton here. Today I have a short chat with Steve Pearce about our joint failures at Cross Swords down in Plymouth. There's more to it than failure. Don't worry. It's not as dire as I'm making it sound. But we talked through all our games, who we fought, and what we thought about the event, and what we thought it tells us about the meta going forward. I had another thought while I was thinking about what I was going to say for the introduction for this podcast. And one was about keeping your community together. Last week, I was in Plymouth, 4.5 hours down south to the south coast of England to play at an event with Steve, one of my original gaming group, which started out at about 15 to 20 people and has now dwindled to about 6, I'd say. 6, 8 on a good day, but probably about 6. And of those, only about 3 or 4 of us ever get together at a single event. The reason for that is that we are not geographically based. We all met playing 40k and are scattered all over the country. So the only times we really get together is at an event, or we make a conscious effort to get together and reinforce those bonds that have been strong, but necessarily get weaker as we get older and less inclined to go and do things that we don't really want to do. So I decided to make an effort. So I went down and thoroughly enjoyed my time down in Plymouth. Thoroughly enjoyed it. The weekend before that, I'd done exactly the same and invited an old gaming buddy to my house. He's given up 40k, but we still spend a weekend together reminiscing and playing board games and having a generally good time. But you need to make an effort. Next week, I'm going to Scotland, not to be with my old friends, but to make new friends. I don't know anybody who I'm playing up there, really. The team captain I've met a couple of times, really nice guy, Martin. I've met Innes a couple of times, played him once or twice, and he is the organizer of the event. So there's a couple of people, but the other 30 people there, no idea. I'm hoping, though, that I can make some new friends. But again, how am I doing? I'm having to make an effort. And this making an effort to go 4.5 hours to the south coast. Next weekend, I'm going on a train for 5 and a bit hours up to Scotland. It takes effort. What I'm trying to say here, I think, is that if you want to do well at something, and if you want to have a community and be part of something, it doesn't happen by sitting on your arse at home. You have to actually get out and do something. And I think saying yes more often than you say no is a habit that we should all get into. Anyway, on that philosophical note, let's move on. Let's have a little chat with Steve about how the event down at Cross Swords in Plymouth went last weekend. All right, Steve, great to see you again. It only seems like yesterday that I was down in Yeovil and Plymouth.
You're down in the southern hemisphere. With the soft southern shandy drinkers. So yeah. There you go.
It was raining a lot, though, while we were there.
It was, yeah.
Which I think
it's pigging freezing down here now, so you wouldn't want to be here this weekend.
I think I prefer. I've just looked at my temperature gauge here. It's -2.
Oh,
so
God.
I'm not happy. Anyway.
No, actually, mine's saying the same. Yeah. So.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
We're in the same boat. Listen, Steve, thank you very much for coming on the channel. We went to Cross Swords last weekend, 34-player GT held in a fantastic pub just outside Plymouth.
Yeah, Ivy Bridge. Yeah,
Ivy Bridge. Yeah, and just for the listener, I just wanted to say what a fabulous setup. When from the moment you walked in on the Saturday morning, you didn't have to spend a penny. You got tea, coffee, cheese and bacon, rolls, donuts.
Pasty things. Yeah, they were great.
Oh, everything.
And I did say to you on the car on the way in, make sure you get your order in quick on those because they go like hotcakes, and they certainly did.
They did, and I loved them. And then the end of the day on Saturday, it was chicken in the basket, and if there was a bar, so you could have beer all the way through. And then on a Sunday, as well as all that breakfast stuff, Sunday lunch was fantastic. The full roast beef and Yorkshire
full roast
pudding.
dinner. Yeah, it's really good.
Unbelievable. Now, I had to pay apparently there was a tab. I had no idea I had to pay for it all at the end.
Yeah, I was going to say that catches you out sometimes, doesn't it? But yeah.
So, but honestly, fantastic venue, great hosts, and I think, is it a club, Steve, that runs it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Crossroads are an actual club, and it's so they do Crossroads at the Westwood, which is the Westwood Ho, is the pub. So, but yeah, that's their. They play there in the basement, as we did for the tournament, once a week on a Thursday. Yeah, and it's cracking. It really is good.
Good.
Really nice guys there. Balanced play, and decent TOs and whatever. So yeah, it's always a cracking event down there.
Yeah, it was great, and it was worth the 4.5 hour drive to get there. So
I'm glad you think so.
I was a bit knackered when I got home, I'll tell you that.
I can imagine, yeah.
But thank you very much for putting me up, and thanks very much
Always.
for inviting me down in the first place. Now, for the listener, we both took Chaos Space Marine Armies.
We did. Suckers.
I have to tell you, spoiler alert, I only won 2 and I was a little disappointed. I thought I'd do 3 and I thought there was half a chance I might win 4, and we'll get on to that in a bit later on. Steve, what were your thoughts before you got there?
I'd be honest, because I beat Chaos Knights, I beat T-Suns, I beat Drakari on my build-up for it, and I thought, actually, I can go 3, maybe 4 easy at this. And I did 2-3, same as you.
Yeah.
So, I was a tad disappointed, to be honest. But I know where I went wrong, and I'm sure we'll come on to that. But equally, I didn't have a lot of the meta units that people do. So neither did you. I mean, we were running Chosen, but we weren't running the 5-man squads. We were running bigger blobs and whatever. So, yeah, there was a lot of learning out of it, which was really good, to be honest.
Yeah, well, let's think about that. Tell everybody what was in your list.
Okay.
And then I'll tell everybody what was in mine, because they're slightly different.
They are. Not much, but they are slightly. Okay. So I had the standard Chaos Lord Undivided with a Bolt Pistol Demon Hammer, who was just awesome all weekend, I have to say. 3 Masters of Possession, because you can never have too many of them. Nurgle Cultist Mob, some Spawn just to be bloody annoying. 3 units of 10 Chosen, just so I could do. Actually, I can't get any more in. So, and they were good. A Forge Fiend, therein lies my first mistake. I should have had 2. Possessed, and I took with the Marcus Sinesh on them, with a Marcus Sinesh Master of Possession, thinking I can get 3 charges off with the Chosen, and my Possessed can also do advanced charge as well. I was never in a position any time at the weekend to actually get all 4 charges off. Yeah. So I should have had them as a second line backup, to charge in later on with Undivided, and then fish for 6s for devastating wounds. So, but you get to learn that later on, don't you? So. Sorry, and then I had Venom Crawlers, 2 Venom Crawlers, Raptors and Warp Talons. The Venom Crawlers were just awesome all weekend. Yeah. Just popping stuff off Knights, anything big, they were just battering, to be honest. They were great. You had them
set up like mine, didn't you, Steve? With
Zinch.
Zinch, so that's, for anybody who doesn't know, that's if you do a Dark Pact, lethal hits on 5s and 6s, so you're wounding everything on a 5 and 6.
Yeah. And they were great. They were just superb. They literally were just banging wins off everything, every turn.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on to my list. And mine's a bit the same, but not quite. So I had the 2 Venom Crawlers. Then I had 2 Vindicators, which were great, or they were rubbish. And because they are the issue with the Vindicators, even with I had 1 Nurgle and 1 Undivided, even with re-rolling everything on the Undivided one, still gets very spiky damage. It's either really good or really bad.
Or really bad, yeah.
But overall, I kind of like them, and they're as tough as old boots as well.
Yeah, so they're great. I really think they're good.
Yeah,
but it is just the damage if they get a buff or whatever with the new the Codex as and when we get one, then I think I'll be swapping my Forge Fiends out and putting those in. I really like them, but the Forge Fiends are just far more.
They're reliable.
They are. They're constantly doing 3 damage. Thank you very much. That's a Chosen dead, a Terminator dead, or whatever dead.
Yeah.
You could fire 3 shots with a Vindicator at a Chosen and go, oh look, 3 ones. I've eventually killed one.
Let me tell you a
That's
story.
the problem.
Let me tell you a story about that a bit later on when we come to be
No,
talking
I'm
about
sure
my
we
game
will.
against the Votan. I had exactly that happen. But, so I had the Vindicators, Venom Crawlers, I had 2 5s of Chosen with the mandatory Lord, because he can get them, he can boost himself and he gets the free strat, so they're re-rolling hits and wounds every time. And so there were 2 6s in one Rhino. The other Rhino had 10 Chosen with Fabius Bile, because I quite fancy the idea of them being toughness 5 instead of toughness 4, and strength 6 with their accursed weapons, which was nice. Then I had 2 5s of Raptors, 1 5 of Warp Talons, and 2 Rhinos. Did I mention that? I did, yes.
Yeah.
And that was about the size of it, to be honest. I thought it was pretty punchy. Advancing and charging out of a Rhino is really good. You've got a massive threat range. And
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and I was very happy with that. So,
I think, to be honest, also talking about the Raptors, part of my issue was I equipped 2 of my guys with melter guns, as I would have done in 9th.
I bet they did nothing, didn't they?
Absolutely nothing, no.
You should know that.
Whereas, I know, I should do, but they always used to rush up, toast something in, with shooting, and then we go and charge something else. And actually this time they were just going, oh, well, fire, oh, nothing. Nothing again.
It's my experience of 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th edition is if you give a fella a melter gun, invariably he'll run up to within 12 inches and roll a 1.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
That's what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
So who did you fight first?
I fought Mark, who had Imperial Knights. Nice guy. Nice paint job on his stuff. They were the red knights with the white shoulder pads.
Yeah, and you're feeling confident because you'd smashed a knight arm.
Well, I battered Chaos Knights, which was Josh's list. So, I'm going to put it out there that yes, I did beat his list before we went to the event. So that's why he changed it. But But yeah, I mean, Mark had got 3 big ones and as many small ones as he could then get in. I seem to remember there were 3 or 4. Sorry, a bit hazy on that. I'm not overly certain. It was a good game. He went first. He moved his big stuff out to the middle of the table, scored some early objectives. I then bought my Possessed and 3 units of Chosen out, and he stopped me and he went, "You've fallen into my trap." I was like, "Really? Are you sure?" He was like, "Yeah, because you've just got Marines against Knights now, and I'm in the open." "Yeah, you are." And so I charged and killed 2 big ones in my first turn, and then butchered the 3rd one, and then just basically chased his little ones down. Because to be fair to him, I don't think he'd actually fought a Chosen list who could advance, charge, shoot, do all the rest of the nonsense that we do. Yeah, it was a good game. I enjoyed it. I think he got something out of it as well. But yeah, I think he really thought that he'd got me because I'd moved out to fight him with just Marines, and it was like I'm not a Marine.
Yeah, and then you've got
30 Chosen are going to wreck you.
Yeah, and if he doesn't understand that they've got advance and charge, and they're re-rolling all the hits, and they're re-rolling all the wounds, and if you've got a Lord with them, he's going to be doing flat 3 damage, and he's re-rolling
exactly.
all the
Yeah. So it was not well. It wasn't my greatest hour because it was easy, and I don't want that to sound like that was an issue with Mark, because it wasn't, because he played a good game. But yeah, I just think he thought, "Oh, you've just got all infantry. I can kill all of them," and actually, they're not infantry with Chosen. So
it doesn't work that way, does it?
No.
Well, my first game was against a lovely guy called Tom Godfrey, who ended up winning Best Painted at the event, and he had Orcs, and they were awesome to look at.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of boys that were painted as pirates with peg legs and patches. And
Yeah, and that was on the truck that was done up as a pirate ship with sails and everything, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It was
lovely
fantastic.
army.
And he deserved to win the painting.
Yeah.
I know Matt thought he was going to win, but
Yeah.
he did deserve to win it. Now we played. He had your bog standard orc list, 4 trucks, all packed full of either boys, beast snaggers, or mega knobs, or whatever they were. And he had that horrible guy on the big giant squid. Is it Mod?
Oh, on the land shark or whatever
the one
it is.
like
Yeah,
a Catan with the 2-up save, halves all the damage, and as a 4-up feel no pain, and a 4-up.
pain in the arse.
It's horrible. He had that. He had 3 little units of Storm Boys, one of those weird boy fellas, and some big guts, is they called big gits? Something gits, flash gits.
Flash gits, yeah.
Flash gits with shooting, which I will now relay the story about. He had, I went first, and it was the quarter one, so that he deployed really up front, and I blew up 2 trucks straight away with my Vindicators, easy peasy. All the guys fell out. I didn't do much damage to the contents, but they all fell out. And I'm thinking, right, I'll just kill all the trucks, because I know what's going to happen here. They're just going to run across the table, sit on all the objectives during the war, try and kill as much as they can, and then hold on while I push back for the last 2 turns of the game.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what happened. I got a charge with my possessed into the flash gits, who proceeded to overwatch. Oh my God. They have some rules that make their overwatching awesome. Killed all of my possessed on the charge.
Wow.
They've got 3 wounds each.
Yeah.
Just blew them away.
And were you running a 5 or a 10-man squad?
Only a 5-man squad, Steve.
Oh, okay.
Only
not
5.
not as yeah, okay. It's still bad enough, yeah.
No, it was grim, and the only thing that actually ended up charging 10 flash gits was the Master of Possession, who quickly decided that was bad and died. So that didn't go particularly well. After that, he declared the war in turn 2, and everything piled over the battlefield. And he did exactly what I said. Basically, he hit whatever he hit. We were tied up in combat. I didn't really get enough damage on him. So what happened was that he was still all nearly in my deployment zone at the end of turn 3, and the game ended before we had to turn 4, because Tom, bless his cotton socks, did like to talk to me about his lovely painted army. And we only got 3 turns in. So it was a low-scoring game, entertaining, good fun. Everybody enjoyed. I think we both enjoyed it. I do think I might have been able to do better with an extra turn, but I think he'd already racked up so many primary points that I don't think I could have brought it all back. You win, I lose first round.
Yeah.
Next, so we have a cigarette outside, we moan a bit about things, and we go back in for game 2. Who have you got this time?
I've got Steve Connell with his Chaos Space Marines.
Now I fight him later. How did that one go, Steve?
25 chosen versus 30 chosen, with reroll of hits and wounds, chance for glory, fight on death. Yeah, it was an absolute bloodbath, to be honest. It was great, and I loved fighting Steve because he's a cracking player. To be fair, I battered him a few months ago at an event, and in this game against Steve, I got the charge. He fought on death and killed me back. I did the same to him. But what basically did it was he got 2 Forge Fiends. And he was out killing me with everything, with those 2 guys, as opposed to my one guy doing I'll just shoot a squad. He was just like deleting 2 squads a turn.
Yeah, and that's because he's got flat 3 damage. So if he's shooting at a unit of chosen, they are in trouble.
Well, especially when I've got a character with them, so they're blast against 11 models, so they're 3d3 plus 6. And then reroll or hits and wounds. Yeah, you're just dead.
Yeah.
If I haven't got a master of possession, so I've got no, like my Lord squad, he baited me out for a couple of easy kills for assassination, which was my first missions. So I killed 2 60-point characters. Wow. And then lost a 300-point squad of Chosen and a Lord straight out from those guys. And it's like, yeah, I should have thought about that. So, but yeah, it was a cracking game. I love playing Steve. He was pissed as a fart by the end of the round, which is always good. So
now, I gather then that you lost that one by a little bit.
Yes, no, not by much, but I still lost it.
Okay, well, I had Connor and his World Eaters, which was Angron, 2 Forge Fiends, one with the Hades autocannon, funnily enough.
Yeah, don't see that often.
No, you don't. A Mauler Fiend, you don't see that very often.
Nope.
3 little, I don't even know what they were, to be honest, Steve. 3 little infantry things just for jumping on objectives.
Jackals, probably.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
That's what they were. Thank you very much. But his little, and then 2 units of Berserkers.
Yeah.
And they were running around with a leader on a Juggernaut, I think, with them. And then his special source was 2, were they Brigands? Melter guns?
Yeah.
And
melters and Gatlings,
yeah. So he had those as allied in. And he went first, rattled across the table. It was a hammer and anvil, so he ended up basically just a few inches from my deployment zone after he'd gone first with Angron on point. Yeah, it was a bit scary to look at it. But I was able to shoot everything at Angron, killed him in the first turn, dead, gone. Now I'm expecting, because he has to come back using the demon dice or whatever they're called. I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good enough. And for the list,
World Eaters cheat dice, much like Sisters of Battle cheat dice and Eldar cheat dice.
Yeah, those are the ones. But what happens is he has to roll a triple with 8 dice of any triple to get Angron back.
Isn't it 666?
Or it might be 666. Well, whatever. You get.
Yeah, I'm sure.
If
you
roll 4, you get. I'm not sure.
Okay.
How it works, but
yeah,
he rolled the next turn, so Angron popped back the next turn straight away, which I was hoping he wouldn't. So,
yeah, no shit.
It was a great game, and he was a great fella. What happened was, it came across. He was on my deployment zone on turn 1. I shot a few things. He charged a few things. My guys charged him. It's all kicking off. Chosen against Berserkers. I'm shooting and backing away from the very horrible melter guns on the Brigands. And it's getting a bit iffy.
It's a nice list, to be honest, with Berserkers and Forge Fiends and Maulers, and then Knights to back them up to give them the much needed shooting that they need.
It is.
I like it.
Except that it all came forward, so I was able to drop 3 5-man squads in the back of his field, and also his hammer and anvil. So I started racking up points all over the place for
behind enemy lines and whatever, I guess.
And the one in the corners, whatever.
Oh yeah, investigate signals.
Signals and
good.
And so I was starting to collect all of those, and then in my turn 3. I just charged everything, and I killed both Brigands, I killed a Forge Fiend, I killed all of the Berserkers, and all of a sudden he had nothing left.
No.
Because it's quite small. Once you've killed some of those vehicles, it's small.
Yeah, it's not a big army. Yeah, that's right.
So I ended up doing quite well against that, and I was quite happy, because at the bottom of turn 3, I thought I was in trouble. But those Chosen, when they get wound up and they start charging things, they don't half hurt.
They do wreck face, yeah.
They do, and especially with the free strat, because you can do it on. I had the 2 5-man units, which were like fire and forget missiles, which just shot out, killed something. If they died, I didn't really care. If they didn't die, they went and killed something else, and that was they were great. I'm a big fan.
Absolutely, yeah, no, they're good.
All right, Steve. So, are we equal? Are we on 1 each now?
We're on 1 each now. Yeah.
All right. What happened next?
So game 3, I played Ed, lovely guy with his white scars. I played like an absolute chump in that one because I didn't read the rules properly.
Yeah. Well, hang on. Before you explain what a chump you are, It's not White Scars. It might be painted as a White Scars. What
Yeah, all right.
detachment rule did he have?
The Gladius
The
Marine
one.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They're Marines.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I'm a Chaos player. I've got
assuming,
no idea.
I'm assuming there's a Marine player somewhere listening to this, so I'm just trying to help them.
Yeah.
out.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, there might be one or two. Yeah. So yeah, the Gladius Task Force, I think it is.
Yeah.
It was Hammer and Anvil. He got a lot of shooting, but the actual mission was the one where you need to use.
Ritual.
The ritual. You score points on the objectives, and if you've got a character on there as well, you empower it. Now, so I put all my characters into squads, ran across, stood on the objectives, and went, "Ha! I've now got it, and I've got a character there. That's 6 points." And then he went, "Great. My whirlwinds are now going to bomb the crap out of that unit. Oh, look, they're all dead." So I rush another unit up and go, "Ha! It's my objective." And he went, "Yeah, and I'm going to bomb the crap out of that one." Whereas actually, if I thought about it, I should have kept my characters free, run the units up, grabbed it, put the character then onto it to empower it. Okay, they'd have died, but my squads would have then been free to go into his deployment zone and start wrecking stuff that was actually shooting me.
Oh, I see. So you'd have them separate. You wouldn't have them with the unit.
No, not at all. That would have been my view, because I stopped with 10 chosen and a character on an objective waiting to get shot just to score 6 points. Yeah. Well, I should have scored 3 with moving onto it, 3 with the character moving onto it. In the meantime, the squad has then moved, advanced and charged and got into his deployment zone and hopefully tied up or killed the whirlwinds and stuff like that were actually killing my squads. That's what I should have done, but I didn't, because I connected them all together. Or deployed them together. Yeah. So, I just basically sat there and waited to die. So, not my finest hour, I have to say.
Well, my game, I can't even remember who it was against. I thought it was against the same fella, but it can't have been, really, can it? Because we'd have both been on... Had he lost the first game, Steve?
Yeah, he got battered by Josh on the first game.
Ah, right. So we'd all have been on 1 at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was him. I thought. Well, no, it can't be, because I won that game, because I was on 2. I was on 2 and 1 at the end of the day 1, and
you were. Yeah, you beat whoever you played. Because you lost the first one against the Orcs, didn't you? And then won your next 2.
Yeah, but I can't remember who I fought. So that's bad, isn't it?
It's great getting old, isn't it?
Oh God, it's awful. Anyway, whatever it was, I beat it. So happy days.
That's all right then. Great. Yeah. Talk us through the game. Yeah, I won.
I can't. I do remember that it was the ritual one. I was able to use my rhinos to quite good effect, because they were just able to get on the objective, and then I could get out and charge from there and leave the rhino just controlling the objective. I didn't bother too much about the ritual thing. It was just because I was too busy killing.
But it worked because you got the rhinos still scoring 3.
Yeah, and it gives me that first turn where I can drive 12 inches and sit on an objective and say, right, what are you going to do about this? Yeah. Because the whirlwinds are pretty good, but they're not going to hurt. They're not going to kill a rhino.
No,
I don't think. Not. I don't think.
You'd hope not.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, because I don't know the stats on a whirlwind, but
no.
But it was okay.
It's Imperial filth, mate. We don't need to know it.
No, we don't.
They just need to die. That's fine.
Just ignore it.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
So we then go to our super duper Airbnb.
Oh my God, yes.
Jack, do you want to describe the Airbnb that was only 10 minutes away? Now
it was only 10 minutes away up. I don't know, some tracks really, where the road disappeared, and even my sat nav went black and turned into graph paper, and we drove off it, and we had no idea. We thought we'd left the Matrix. Really, it was fucking surreal, wasn't it?
It was. And then when we get there, oh my God!
Yeah, we found the key safe that wouldn't open. And then eventually, after about 20 goes and thinking we're going to need to get my crowbar and sledgehammer out the back of the boot and smash this off the wall, we reread it and it said there is a key safe opposite the front door on the wall.
Which is not the same one we've been trying to get into.
Which is not the one we were trying to get into. So we then found that key safe and got the keys out. So thank God we were okay. We were told in the instructions that it was a family home and could we take our shoes off so as not to damage the brand new carpets. And so we did that the first time and wiped our feet across all the mud crap and whatever that was on the laminate floor in the hall and then onto the carpet. And it was like, okay, this is not quite what we thought. We noticed that there was no cooker. There was a kettle. There was an air fryer that when I opened it up the following morning, I went, I'm not cooking in that. And then fortunately, you came down as well. I went, Steve, don't cook in here.
I didn't want to do anything in here. It was very.
It was, It was not what we thought. It was supposed to be a 3-bedroom place.
It had 2 bedrooms.
It had 2 bedrooms, and I slept on the sofa downstairs. Yeah, it wasn't the best, but on the other hand, it was cheap. Yeah. So
I'm still not doing it again. At the end of game 3, we were both winning. Were we both on 2 and 1?
No, I was on 1 and 2 by that time.
That's right. I was on 2 and 1.
Yeah, you were.
You were on 1 and 2, but I didn't have a very good day on Sunday because, spoiler alert, I lost both of my games. But let me tell you, they were both really close games. And in the last one, which was against Votan, we only had 4 turns, and I would have won that if we'd have been able to fit in a 5th turn. But the games were great. Now, the game I played in the morning was against Jason, who had a Necrons list. Now, I know how Necrons work.
Well, you should do.
Well, turns out I don't know as much as I thought I did. Honestly, he had some interesting builds. So he had a warrior unit, and the warrior unit had a plasmancer and I think an overlord with it. So all his shooting was critical hits on 5s. And
nice.
Yeah, and it turned out to be quite effective in chipping wounds every turn off my venom crawler. It was on that flank. Now the Lich Guard, I did everything right against and killed him. And he shook me by the hand and said that's the first time anybody's killed his Lich Guard, because they had the Reanimator with them, they had the 5-up feel no pain from the Technomancer.
They have Cryptex and all that sort of nonsense with it, or Cryptothralls or whatever it is.
He did.
Yeah.
But the Master of Possession with his precision pistol each turn was able to pick out the characters in the unit.
Oh, nice.
So that was quite nice. And then I charged it with everything and the Reanimator at the same time. He was scoring points, I was scoring points, and the result was a great game. 92 to him, 87 to me.
Wow.
Really
that's
close.
Good.
And I think that could have gone swung 5 points the other way at any point in the game. So I'm not fussed about that, and that's why I said at the beginning I think I could have won 4 of these.
Yeah.
Because I won 2 yesterday, and I think both games on the Sunday I could have won, and that's a close result. So 87-92, great game, and Jason, what a gentleman!
He's a lovely guy. Player. He really is. Yeah.
Loved it.
He's going to come up to the Crow's Nest and actually play one of the Crows, I think, in the new year. So that'll be good as well. So that'll be posted on our on the other chat.
Well, which one is it? Tell the listeners so they can go and look it up.
It's on Black Crow Gaming on YouTube, because we do battle reports every week. So and we film all of those and post them. So yeah, it's good.
And it's in the Crow's Nest. You see what they've done there?
It is, yeah. It's in Josh's massive shed, yeah, which is great. And it is a shed, but it's actually got carpet and proper insulated walls and everything. Well, you played on there on the Friday, so yeah, it's good.
More importantly, it's got a bar in it.
It has, yeah.
Which is anyway. So I had a great game on Sunday morning. What about you?
I played Jim with his Votan. He's an older guy, much like us. So, and he's been playing since Rogue Trader, so same as I have. We hopefully played with intent. There was a couple of conversations that we had during the game, but either I backed down or he did, so which was fine. I was interested to see how Votan played because I've got a Votan army, as you know, but I never actually used it in anger. And it was really good. I got into him. I butchered a lot of his units, but then he just started shooting back and was just deleting stuff. You know, the 4 tokens they put down, so he just did all my chosen and the possessed, and then he's +1 to hit, +1 to wound. You know, my guys, as soon as they killed something and then were out of combat, he just vaporized them. But it was a good game, and then we ended up 76-77 to him. As a final score, and it was like, really. But that came down to, be honest, that goes back to my start off with taking my possessed as Slanesh, so I was getting sustained. I got into combat with a land fortress, and I just needed the undivided to reroll hits and wounds and just whack it with devastating. And I didn't get it, and that was at the point I was thinking, I took the wrong mark on those guys. I should have been playing them as undivided and not worried about getting the 4 charges off, because I was never going to do it. And actually, when they did get into combat, they would have then killed something and then gone on and gone on and gone on.
Yeah. Well, let's keep that, and we'll.
But it was a cracker. It was a good game.
Well, let's keep that, because we'll tidy up at the end of our conversation and have a few thoughts about what we do differently when we're doing our list building, shall we? Okay, so
sure.
Okay, it doesn't get closer than 1 point, does it?
No, it doesn't. No, and it was a great game. And to be fair, neither of us knew who was winning until we actually totted the points up at the end.
Well, that's
so,
the best.
Which was great. Yeah.
Well, I fought him next. I fought in the last game. I fought Jim as well. And we had. I got a bit salty halfway through because things weren't going as they should have been going, and I felt occasionally that I was getting a couple of gotchas that I didn't know about. But we had we both had a bit of a timeout halfway through the game and came back and had a perfectly fun game at the end of the day. And
Good.
Again, this is another one of those. Only went to turn 4. I don't think it's me. I really don't. But we only did 4 turns, and he beat me by 8 points. And again, and I think you talked to him in the bar afterwards, and I think you were saying that if it had gone on an extra turn, I think I would have probably turned that round.
Yeah, when we were paying our tabs, I was chatting to Jim because he was behind me in the queue to pay our tabs off, and he was like, "Yeah, if it had gone to turn 5, I would have lost."
I think
so.
Too.
Yeah, that was his view.
Yeah. But you know, hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not fussed about it. What did I learn there? I learned that if you don't know what the opposing army does, you're at a massive disadvantage.
Yeah.
I knew that, but Votan, oh my God, they have a trick for virtually every occasion.
Everything, yeah.
And those Hearthguard, the ones with the grenade launchers and
the little Terminators, yeah. 2 wounds, effectively 2 up, shooting on 2s with all the buffs and whatever. Yeah, they're great.
Honestly, I charged them with 10 chosen, and
they're as bad as aggressors, to be honest.
Oh, they shoot like I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
He rolled loads of dice, killed about 4 of my chosen, and I'm thinking, well, that's it. And then he said, I've got more. And he rolled more dice again to shoot with the grenade launchers. It's just hideous. Yeah. And then he charged me. And
they've all got power fists. Yes, even worse. Yeah.
Thinking, how good can they be? They're a great shooting unit. How good can they be in combat? Well, I found out quite quickly.
Yeah.
But no, it was good. What else did I learn in that? This is the game where I shot for 3 turns with my Vindicator at a land fortress and did about 4 wounds on it. I did a few more than that, but not enough. Whereas in previous games, I've shot at vehicles and just taken them out like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's why it's there, so swinging, aren't they?
Yeah. That is the issue. So that's my last game. What about you, mate?
I played a lovely guy called Andy with Aeldari. It was his first game or first event of 10th with Aeldari. He'd got Wraithguard, he got 3 units of Wraith Blades.
Oh, this is the combat-y Wraith.
Yeah, it was a combat Wraith army, which was,
fantastic.
and I thought it was a great game, absolutely fantastic. It really was. I refused to shoot his Wraithguard because I know they fire back. So much to his disgust, because I wouldn't shoot them. But I tied up 2 units of Wraithguard with my possessed. But to be fair, because I wasn't undivided, I was Sinesh, I wasn't killing them. Yeah. He wasn't killing me either. Yeah. So that was just a bit of a dull combat. I threw 2 units of Chosen into his Wraithguard and butchered them. So that was, that worked. And basically I got into his deployment zone, took his home objective. So I won that one. And it was a cracking game. But to be fair to him, if he'd have got more of the standard Eldar units, he got no Night Spinners, he got no War Walkers. So it was actually, I can deal with this.
Did he have Warp Spiders?
No.
Sweeping Hawks?
No.
Incarn?
No. No Avatar? No. So, but it was a fun list to play.
I bet.
But I can, it got some really good stuff in it, but which really held me up. But on the other hand, I can just see him going, right, I need to throw those units away, buy some new stuff, and then suddenly, I'll start winning. He
will, but then he'll just be like everybody else's Eldar army, won't he? So,
yeah, it will be. Yeah, and it was an unusual list, but we had a cracking game, and for me, I built an Eldar list, so who cares?
Yeah, and I'm assuming that they're both combat armies. Did you? I bet there was a lot of dice rolling and chopping. And
It was great because we literally just hit with. I hit with all 4 of my units, his Wraithguard, Wraith Blades, his other stuff. It was just a mass combat in the middle of the table, and it was a lot of fun. It was great. We were just throwing so many dice. So you couldn't have asked for a more exciting game. We both had a lot of fun. We both laughed all the way through it. So it was great.
So at the end of I'll start again. At the end of day 2, Steve and I were both on 2 and 3, which is fine. It was okay. Yeah. But I did think that losing by 5 points against the Necrons, not having that extra turn in the last game, was a bit of a. I could have been on 4 and 1 here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not really that disappointed. But there are things that I'd do differently. I don't know anything about Voton, and what that tells me is I need to know more about the opposing armies and what they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even when you ask your opponent, and they always tell, if you ask them, can you do this, can you do that, but you don't know what you don't know, so you can't. You can't.
Sometimes there's questions you need to ask, but you don't know what the questions are. So
that sounds a bit too deep for this time.
Exactly. Yeah.
But so that was an issue. What else did I discover? The other thing I'd learned: don't give up. When I was fighting Connor, I thought till my turn 3, and I was getting second, I thought I was done for. He was in my deployment zone with big vehicles, big monsters, chopping things up, shooting things, and I still pulled it back. So I think just stick in there until you really can't win it. Don't talk it through.
Exactly.
In fact, the organizer at the beginning of the event did say there would be no talking through, didn't he? He stood up at the beginning.
He did, yeah.
And said, no, don't talk it through. When the time is up, the time is up. Just
that's it. Yeah.
That's it. So I thought that, and I think
which I much prefer. And I'm not going to name any names, but I've seen too many top-end players doing we'll just talk it through for the last 2 rounds because I'm going to win. And actually, people can feel pressurised into accepting what's being said rather than actually, no, that's my points, that's your points, that's where we are. Sorry, so it might be 56, 59, whatever, but actually that's it. That's all you're scoring. So
Yeah. No, I think that's right, and especially if the organizer doesn't tell you what to do, then there's a grey area. But in this particular situation, the organizer made it very, very clear that when the 3 hours was up, it was dice down. Just
Yeah.
get to the bottom of that particular turn as quickly as you can, and that's your points.
and that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
And that's what we did. And you know, even though I had 3 turns against the orcs, because there were so many orcs to move, and quite a chatty.
And a chatty player, yeah, which is great in a friendly game, but actually at a tournament, it's like, sorry, that's when you then think I should have taken the clock.
Well, do you know what? I've got one in my bag, and I was thinking when he was deploying, shall I? But I didn't want to be that guy.
No, I know, but then potentially you lost that game because he was that guy, because he was actually being really friendly and chatty. So,
Possibly.
you know what I mean.
I'd rather play a game against someone that was enthusiastic and
Oh God, yeah.
and good fun, and lose it than play against someone who was a miserable shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, like they probably thought I was, but nevertheless.
Yeah, they have all said that actually.
Oh,
all
thank
of them.
you, thanks for that. So what else would I do? Yeah, I would Chaos Space Marines. I don't like to say this, but I think the Forge Fiends are just that much more reliable than Vindicators. They've got a bit more range, and you know they're going to kill eight 3-wound models, something like that.
Absolutely.
So I would.
So
do
it is 2 of them, no matter what.
But again,
And to be fair, you need one as Nurgle, so you can go, yeah, you can't see me. Yeah. The other one is Undivided and walk on as Strategic Reserve, and they just blow the crap out of something.
Yep.
And that's what I got caught out with, and you know, it was suddenly like, that's what I should have done. I've been running 2 Forge Fiends in all my lists, and I changed it for this weekend, and it was just like, it was the wrong move. It really was.
Did you? I know everything was on foot because you told me that, I don't mind because all of my army can advance and charge, so I don't need to be in transports. Have you reconsidered that?
Funnily enough, yes.
Yeah.
I've now got 3 rhinos.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you sure you haven't overdone it? I've got 2, and that's fine, I think.
Well, I've played around with the list and I've gone for 3, because I just think I can then use the rhinos to do an action, take an objective, do something else. And yeah, being all on foot was great, but actually against Ed with his whirlwinds and God knows what else, I just died. I just couldn't survive that amount of indirect shooting or direct shooting when his Storm Raven came over and dropped guys out and blew the crap out of me on the back lines. It was just, it was horrendous.
Yeah, I love the Chaos Space Marines. Of course, I've ordered the new Codex for Necrons, so I'll be going straight back to Necrons.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed playing with Chaos Space Marines because the main reason, to be honest, is because they actually do some damage.
Yeah.
Necrons don't have a massive damage output, but these guys, oh God, it's great crashing into things with 5 chosen with a Lord, just deleting them and going,
no, exactly. There's so much fun. I've been a Chaos player for God knows how long, but actually we seem to be back in the chance of actually doing some damage and winning games. And I'm not taking them at a list. I don't have Abaddon, I don't have the other stuff, I don't have a Cursed Cultist, but I'm still winning games with them, which is great, and I really enjoy playing them. So I'm going to stick to what I'm doing. I'm going to play around with the list. I've actually put Fabulous Bill in one of my units. I've put Luke.
Bill was brilliant.
It's just great.
He was awesome. For those who don't know, he does 3 things. He increases your strength and toughness of the unit is with. So toughness 5, 3-wound Marines. Anybody? Yes, please. I'll have those.
Yep.
Strength 6 with their accursed weapons, and strength 9 with power fists.
Yep.
It's good. And then what he also he's not bad himself either. He's got 6 attacks.
No, he's good.
Yeah, and he's got a dodgy anti-infantry pistol. It's great. But the other thing he does is he can ignore, in each phase, he can ignore one wound, one damage.
Yeah, it turns one damaged or
To
whatever
0.
damage to 0. Yeah, which is good.
The amount of times that saved my bacon was just stupid. And then he comes back to life on a 2 if you kill him.
Yeah.
He's great. He's well worth it. You put him with a big bunch of chosen, and all of a sudden they become pretty scary.
Yeah.
So.
I've stuck Lucius in a squad as well. I've taken legionaries. So which actually for me means I can roll out my 20-year-old metal marines, which would be great to put them on the table and watch people go to pick them up as they go, oh, that one's dead. Jesus, what's wrong with that guy? He's so heavy.
Yeah, mate, you do know at your age you ought to be careful lifting.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I've gone far more balanced to be honest. I've got the 2 Forge Fiends, I've got Raptors, I've got Warp Talons, I've got some Slanesh Demonettes or Slanesh Demons in it, and I feel this is probably a much better list than the one I ran last weekend. So we'll see. But my next tournament is actually tomorrow, and I'm running House Divine in my Chaos Knights, which will be their first outing ever. So, and I've got 2 big ones and 6 small ones and a few demons. So, we'll see how that goes. But
that would be great.
It'd be good fun.
That's going to be fun. Well, my next one, I'm going to talk about that a bit after we finish. Now is up in Scotland next weekend.
Yes, of course it is. Yeah.
So I'll be on the old choo-choo. Hang on a minute, choo-choo train.
Woo woo.
That's it, isn't it?
That's it.
Doing.
Yep.
I'll be up there. But the other thing that I learned, and this is Lucius, you've just reminded me, was I fought the World Eaters. They had was it a Master of Executions?
Yes. Who has fight first?
Yeah, I've never fought anybody with fight first. It's bloody horrible. Because when you charge into them, you're thinking, yeah, that's great, and then when in their turn, I'll go first. Oh, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
So
no.
you don't get to swing twice. He gets the... Well, it hurts quite a lot when he goes first. So that was something I've never used before, and so I learned quite a bit when I was down in the south, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different meta down there, I have to say. It's not... there were a few of the meta lists with Night Spinners and God knows what else in the Aeldari and a few of the others. But actually, once you got below the probably the top 6, 7, and I'm not counting Josh in that because his list is very different as well because he's got War Dogs and Knights and stuff. And to be fair, he came 3rd, so his list was catching people out. But when you came further down, there was a lot of different stuff, wasn't there?
I'm looking at the results here, and it's interesting. First place, Sisters. Now, I'm not surprised because I think the meta has swung that way a bit. Vic Vijay's been going on about Sisters for a little while, and they're starting to win things. Second place was Drukhari, which was a surprise, but
but George is a good player, so
yeah. And then there was Josh with his Knights. Then there was Steve Connell with his Chaos Space Marines. Then there was a World Eaters army. Then there was a Grey Knight. Then there was a Tyranids. So in the top, what you got there, the top 7. You haven't got an Aeldari, and I'm looking down. I'm looking down the list, and the first is 11th with the. Oh no! Wait a minute. No, I'm looking down the list. 19th is Matt Jarvis.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, Matt's army was a nails list. It was the right list, a standard Aeldari list.
Yeah. What he had both the Incarn and the
Avatar and Night Spinners and Wraithguard and blah 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 blah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think the meta might be shifting, mate. And on that note,
I think it is. Yeah.
On that note, we need to call it a day because I'm running out of time and energy. There you have it. The top Aeldari list of a 34-man GT tournament was in 19th place. That sounds like something's happening to the meta. Sisters, MSU Sisters, lots of small scoring units, tough to deal with, really tough to deal with. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking all of these are armies with miracle dice of some kind are troublesome. Sisters get miracle dice, they can guarantee things. The whole point of a game where you include an element of luck with dice is that you can't guarantee things. There's always, whether it's a small percentage or not, there's always a chance that something won't happen. When you take that away for one side and not the other, it becomes an uncomfortable experience. Anyway, Aeldari, there they are in 19th. Everybody's happy with that, surely. The other thing that came out quite strongly here is the talking through of the final turn. I absolutely hate it. I think what we should do is, if there is a dice down, you play to the end of the turn, then you score what you've got at the end of the turn. If you're end of the turn 3 or end of turn 4, those are the points you score. And if the game ends up 40 points to 30 points, well, that's what you got. And I think that makes much more sense than talking it through and ending up with a score that looks good on paper, but actually is complete fabrication. And I think that's the way it should be. I can't imagine tournament organisers wanting it any other way. There should be some kind of impact of slow play. And if you end up with fewer tournament points and therefore a lower position at the end, even if you win all 5, tough biscuits. That's what I say. Okay, so what's next for me? Plymouth last week, Scotland next week. Hurrah! I'm so looking forward to this team challenge. I'm looking at the lists in my team, and it's your typical Aeldari, Space Marines. I can't even remember what they are without looking. But they're all the top banana lists. And then there's me with Necrons. I'm not sure what I'll do. I have a couple of little plans, little wrinkles that I think against some lists I may do well. But if they put me against Aeldari with a couple of night spinners, I'm completely doomed. So we have a matrix that I don't fully understand yet, but as soon as I've got a chance to speak to the team captain, I'm sure he'll explain to the idiot savant how it works. So I'm hoping that's going to work well. And frankly, I'm just looking forward to the experience. If they throw me under the bus for 3 games, if that takes the big bad army out of contention, so the other four team members can win, that works for me. I'd rather be on the winning team and lose all my games than any other way. The other thing is that although I can't kill a lot with Necrons, you certainly can rack up some points. And I would hope to be getting in the 70s for most games. I hope to. It doesn't always happen. And against Aeldari, I can be wrapped up by turn 3. But I'm hoping I can. And it's not really a meta list either. I've even got a Tomb Sentinel in there. And the reason for that is that actually against things like Grey Knights, all of their close combat weapons are psychic attacks. And anybody within 6 inches of my Tomb Sentinel gets a 4-up, feel no pain against them. So I can really put a crimp in their Cornish pasty. So that's what I'm hoping to do. Not much else to talk about. I think the next time you'll hear from me is after I've been up to Scotland and come back full of haggis and whiskey. So until that happy day, see you on the ice.